Welcome to the Neuromasters Podcast, the place to reinvent yourself, master your mind, and change your life. Internationally recognized speaker, coach, and trainer Reg Malhotra will teach you tools to improve your mindset, change your behaviors, and let your relationships thrive. Are you ready to unlock the power of your mind? Here's your host, Reg.
Welcome back. So we're going to continue our discussion around beliefs, which we've been touching upon in the last few episodes. And today, I want to make a very interesting statement, which is, it's not that important if something you believe is true or not. Let me say that again. Whether it's true or not is not relevant when it comes to beliefs. Now, let me explain with an example. There are many things we believe. Many of those may be true. Many of those may not be true. Ultimately, what we believe will impact what we see, hear, feel, and experience more of. Isn't that interesting? So let's take a belief. For example, let's take a potential belief that all people are nice, or that all people are fundamentally good people. Now, you have a choice, right? We all have a choice. We can choose to believe that or not. We can choose to believe that all people are bad. In fact, I've met people like that in my life who believe that most people are bad. Most people cannot be trusted. Now, all people are nice may be true or it may be false. Similarly, all people are bad or cannot be trusted may be true, but that may also be false. So, given that we have a choice on what to believe in, you see, a lot of our beliefs, they are a result, generally speaking, of something that happened in our life, something we experienced, something someone said, whatever the case may be, something that we've seen evidence of. However, we also have a choice. At any given time, we can look at a belief, we can question it, and we can decide to choose it or unchoose it. So the point here is, if a belief is choosable, then does it really matter if it's true or not? And if what we believe brings to us more evidence of what we believe, then what would we like to believe? That's the question. You see, your mind is an interesting instrument. It brings to us information through a process of filtering. At any given time, we could have an incredible amount of information coming to us through all of our five senses. Think about it. Right now, you're listening to my voice. There may be something in your environment that is also within your vision. You may be looking at your phone right now. You may be actually physically looking at it while listening to me. There may be some self-talk going on right now. There may be something else you see at a distance. This is all information. Much of the information gets deleted or distorted by the mind, by the brain. Because it's impossible for the mind to take in every bit of information that's coming through. In fact, you may realize that many times in your life, there were things in front of you, but you realize later that you did not even notice them. Why is that? Well, there is, I think to put it simply, that's not something we want to go into a lot of detail on here. That's something we covered through many of our programs. However, in the context of this show, I think it's important to understand that not all information is received or internalized. So, going back to the point about beliefs. If we have a particular belief, it is more likely than not that our brain will bring in information to confirm that belief. Think about it again. What are you choosing to believe? And whether it's true or not, is actually not as relevant as long as it supports where you're going or what you want to do or what you want to achieve. Another example is the belief that I am responsible for everything that happens in my life. Now, this may not always be true. However, if you have a choice, what kind of results would you likely receive or create if you believe that you are responsible, as opposed to everything outside of you or everyone outside of you is responsible? Which, by the way, may be true at times. But what would happen if you were to believe that you are responsible, that you are at cause for everything that happens in your life? What kind of behaviors would you produce? And we could go on and on about this. There are so many beliefs that we hold as a result of something that happened in our life, but we never really look to examine them. So we do have a choice on beliefs, and whether something is true or not that we believe becomes less relevant if the belief you have is supporting your journey, is supporting you to where you want to go. So what I'd like you to do is think about certain beliefs that you have, that you may have because of you having seen some evidence. At the same time, I want you to think of beliefs that you'd rather have, that you may not have seen evidence for yet. You may be waiting for evidence to appear. And then what I'd like you to do is to take some of these beliefs that you haven't seen evidence for and decide if you would like to have that as a belief. And in deciding that, the criteria you may want to use is whether that supports where you want to go. And then choose to adopt that belief and start to look at life using that belief. Start to consciously initially do things that match that belief. Now, I also would like you to think of one more thing in deciding which beliefs you have and which beliefs you want to keep, which beliefs are serving you or not. One other perspective I'd like to bring to you is I'd like you to imagine having no beliefs. In fact, let's use an interesting example here. There was a show many, many years ago, a comedy show, a sitcom called Third Rock from the Sun. Some of you may have watched it. Some of you may have heard about it. And in this show, there was a bunch of people who came down from another planet to planet Earth. And they had to take some information back to their planet about how humans live and what humans are like. They came to Earth and they had to put on human bodies and they had to pretend as normal as they can so they can easily assimilate into human society. Now, in this show, they decide to live as a normal family. So they start living in a house in the way that humans live. And they all have some level of skills or knowledge that was planted into them so they can start particular jobs or professions. However, that was it. Now, they did not appear to have any beliefs until they got into society. And so by watching other people, by watching their responses, they would start to adopt beliefs. I want you to think like that. I want you to think what would happen. Let's assume that you are an alien or you're here on planet Earth and you are an empty canvas. You have no beliefs at all. None whatsoever. But you have a choice as to what beliefs you'd like to have. So the question for you is, what beliefs would you like to have? Now, I asked this question of somebody the other day, and there was quite a long pause. I know for me, if I was asked that question, well, I would start with, I believe that I can have any kind of life I want. Then I believe, in my case, that people are fundamentally great. I believe that I can have all the things that I want and live all the experiences that I want. I believe that the world is a great place. I believe that it is incredible to be alive. I believe, and I could just go on and have a set of beliefs that I know would serve me. And I think The fact that some people cannot even answer that immediately is that we've never really stopped to think about what beliefs would be like to have. So I'd like you to pretend to be that person who comes to planet Earth with no beliefs. Take a notebook and start to write all the beliefs that that you would like to have, given that you have a choice. And notice what comes up. And as you do that, I'd like you to think even bigger. Now, for a lot of people, some of these beliefs can be really hard to decondition, really hard to remove. Now, the good news is there are techniques and there are tools that can be used to replace these beliefs at a deep neurological level. So the tools and techniques exist and it's all possible, but you still have to decide what beliefs you have that are not serving you and what beliefs would you like to have instead. Now, I know there's a lot to think here, but as we wrap up this show, I'd like you to also spend time after this show really thinking about what beliefs as you think about the beliefs you'd like to have, how much does it matter whether it's true or not? I hope you enjoyed this, and I would encourage you to go back and listen to this, pause and play as you need so you can get some of these tasks down and start to do this amazing work so that you can start to see immediate changes in your life. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in today. Are you ready to take the next step and find out what's keeping you from reaching your goals and creating the life you want? Go to go.neuromastersacademy.com/GS-LP for a free transformational mini workshop with Reg. See you next week.